Hey, how y'all doing out there? I got some old crazy news for y'all. They trying to bring in some top tier celebrities because these witnesses in the Diddy trial ain't nothing but jokes. The rumor is LL Cool J and Busta Rhymes getting ready to go up there and testify because a lot of people believe that Diddy had something to do with the passing of the legendary Chris Lighty. There's people that have been in the courtroom listening and they've been reporting to the public what's been going on in there.
50 Cent was always suspicious after he found out that Chris Lighty died of a... He hired a private investigator to look into it. Busta Rhymes and LL Cool J... Busta Rhymes and LL Cool J... Busta Rhymes and LL Cool J... also said that they believed that Chris Lighty was... Today at the Sean Combs versus United States trial, Diddy's former assistant, Capricorn Clark, got on the stand and said that after she left Bad Boy, she got hired by Chris Lighty to be 50 Cent's day-to-day manager. But the day before she was about to start the job, Chris Lighty died. And as she said that, she broke down into tears. For years, there's been suspicions around Chris Lighty's death. And after hearing that on the testimony today, everybody's reinvestigating now the death of Chris Lighty. Stay tuned for more.
Now, y'all know this trial getting serious when a white woman got to slow it down, rewind it, put a mix on it. Busta Rhymes and LL Cool J.
Busta Rhymes and LL Cool J.
That lets you know they about to be in that courtroom telling everything on Diddy. They probably got sex tapes. We gonna have to wait and see. And that ain't even the cold part. You got people from all over the country flying into New York City just to report on what's going on with the Diddy trial. And people starting to mention Kim Porter again. People want to know what happened to Biggie Smalls, Tupac Shakur. People wondering what really happened to Chris Lighty. Did Diddy have these people killed? Busta Rhymes, no. Now he about to bust a tail. LL Cool J, no. Now he ain't cool with it no more. Diddy gonna be in a world of trouble once these celebrities start saying what they got to say, because people gonna believe a celebrity. All these people that's broke, ain't got no money, you ain't never heard of them before. Some chick named Mia, that ain't even her real name. We wanna know what happened with Chris Lighty, but I'm trying to tell y'all, they about to get to the bottom of a whole lot of things.
My sources confirmed to me that at the request of Chris Lighty's grieving mother, superstar artist 50 Cent has brought in a high-powered team to investigate the hip-hop mogul's death. This comes as Fox 5 News has obtained a copy of his will, and it leaves everything to his wife.
This is the cover of Chris Lighty's will. His legal first name is Daryl, but it's what's on page 3 that's raising eyebrows. Except for a fund set aside for his children, it says if he is survived by his wife, quote, I give my entire residuary estate, real and personal, to her, end quote. One of the country's top attorneys, Arthur Aidala, explains.
Under the will, his wife has a lot of power. She's the executor of the will, and she also inherits everything that's in the will, meaning she's in charge of distributing the assets, but she's the one who's receiving them as well.
Lighty managed the careers of superstars like 50 Cent and Diddy and orchestrated multi-million-dollar deals. He died last month, allegedly from a self-inflicted gunshot wound after an argument with his wife Veronica. The will, drafted in 2007, provides a separate $1.6 million trust fund for his children. Aidala says it shows great care and planning, especially for a man who at that time was only in his late 30s.
It was well thought out. He clearly loves his family, and he did the right thing. He went out, he hired an expert in this area of work and wrote a document that protects and covers his wife and his children.
Lighty was laid to rest earlier this month after a star-studded send-off, but many of those who knew him still can't believe it was a suicide, as ruled by the New York City medical examiner. Former New York City medical examiner Dr. Michael Baden was called in by the family for a second autopsy. The results so far are inconclusive, but Baden spoke exclusively with me today about the case.
In my opinion, the cause of death, clear as a gunshot wound to the head, the manner of death, accident, suicide, or homicide still is pending till all those tests are done.
Now, sources also tell me that Lighty was not deep in a bottomless financial hole and that he had just secured a world tour for 50 Cent for next year, which would have brought him millions of dollars. The new investigation is being led by 50's attorney Scott Lehman and private investigator Les Levine.
Stuff that didn't make no sense back then starting to make a whole lot of sense now. Now we starting to see why 50 Cent been on Diddy trail so bad, because he know that Diddy had something to do with Chris Lighty's passing. Everybody in the hip-hop community mad about it. His wife a suspect as well. 50 Cent baby mama was sex working for Diddy while she had a baby with 50 Cent. So that just goes to show that when Diddy get a hold of your family, your baby mama, your girlfriend, your cousin, your sister, he got enough money to put them on his payroll. And when Chris Lighty checked out and his wife got all that money, people was thinking that she probably was being pimped, sex trafficked. And I hate to be speaking on this man because he no longer here. I don't want to be speaking on his family neither. But when you got Diddy involved, all different types of things could be possible. They try and make it seem like it was just between him and Cassie, but the world's starting to see it's a bigger picture to all of this. He paid Cassie that money just so they could focus on her, so she won't mention nothing about nobody else. Don't mention none of the celebrities that was freaking off with. Don't mention none of the celebrities that punched her in her head. They putting up this big old smoke screen, but the case starting to get real. They might have to extend this thing for about 2-3 months. It might be longer than the OJ.
Here's what happened on day 12 of the Diddy trial. Stylish Deontay Nash finished testifying, and he said he hooked up Cassie with Michael B. Jordan. He also said Cassie broke up with Diddy because she found out Diddy was seen in public with Gina, his ex-girlfriend. The defense is arguing Cassie broke up with Diddy because she was jealous, not because she was forced to participate in the freak-offs. Next up was Mia, who was Diddy's assistant and who testified under a pseudonym. She worked for Mike Myers before Diddy. She said Diddy was with her, threw an ice bucket, bowl of spaghetti, turkey meat, computer, and phone at her, against doors and walls, and the pool. She was paid $50,000 to start and worked for days straight with little to no sleep. She had to take Adderall to stay awake. This is forced labor for the racketeering charge. And maybe if Diddy wasn't so cheap and actually paid his employees, they wouldn't be suing him. She said the work culture was toxic and chaotic, and that Diddy would control Cassie's outfits. He would take away her car and jewelry to punish her. Mia said Diddy would attack Cassie all the time and that she never fought back. There was graphic testimony about the time Diddy Cassie's head on the corner of the bed and cracked the hole open. After the attack, Diddy told her to contact a plastic surgeon and to say Cassie fell because she was drunk. Diddy attacked Cassie when she snuck out to go to Prince's party. Diddy came to the party, chased Cassie, and attacked her when she was on the ground. Prince's security had to intervene to save her. This was the same party where the makeup artist said Cassie suffered a swollen eye, busted lip, and knots in her head. Mia also saw Cassie with bruises, black eyes, and other injuries. And on a trip to Turks and Caicos, Cassie said Diddy was going to. She ran out to the beach and paddled out to the sea to escape him. Mia said Diddy's authority was above the police. They would let him go when he was pulled over. Mia played an audio recording where jurors could hear Diddy yelling at Cassie while he attacked her. She had to clean up baby oil from hotel rooms after the freak-offs, so housekeeping wouldn't go to TMZ. Diddy gave M to Mia and told her that she was now part of the Breakfast Club. So we have trafficking along with trafficking. This corroborates the testimony of the previous witnesses and shows a criminal enterprise with Diddy in control. Importantly, Mia said Diddy S.A.'d her multiple times. Cassie wasn't present and Mia didn't tell her about it. Mia never told anyone because she was afraid. The essays happened in Diddy's Los Angeles homes in 2009 or 10, so the statute of limitations is run, but they can still be racketeering out.
They trying to bring in all these non-black people to make this case stick. Because when black people hurting on other black people, that's black on black crime. You got to bring in Cassie. You got to bring in somebody named Mia. They brought in every non-black person that worked for Diddy to speak on the trial, just to make it more realistic, just to give them a probable cause to put this man in jail for the rest of his life. Don't nobody care about what happened with Kim Porter until now. Didn't nobody care about what happened to Chris Lighty until now, because allegedly you got people like LL Cool J willing to testify because they love Chris Lighty. Busta Rhymes ain't been able to sleep, got a pot belly. He looks sickly because of what happened to Chris Lighty. And on top of all of that, Suge Knight telling his story.
Now to the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial. Enters a fourth week of testimony as we hear from Suge Knight, Combs' rap rival, whose name has come up often at the trial. Dan Abrams is standing by. We're going to talk to him after Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katersky gives us this report from the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
And good morning to you, George. Long before federal prosecutors put Sean Combs on trial here, his chief hip-hop competitor told us that Combs was known in the industry for some of the very conduct that could now put him in prison. This morning, as a fourth week of testimony begins in the Sean Combs trial in New York, his West Coast rival and Death Row Records founder Suge Knight is speaking out from behind bars in California, telling ABC News Combs' sexual appetites were an open secret beginning in the 1990s.
Everybody knew that. Puffy didn't just pop in the industry and say, hey, I want to have sex with everybody.
Rivalry between Combs and Knight, notoriously marked by the shooting deaths of Biggie Smalls and Knight's artist Tupac Shakur, has come up at trial. Capricorn Clark became Combs' assistant after working for Knight and testified that on her first day, Combs took her to Central Park. He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me.
A lot of people might say, well, Capricorn could have did anything else she wanted to do. She did try. If you go get a job at Universal and probably make a phone call, you're not getting that job. If you go get a job at a talent agency or in the movie business and probably make that call, your career is over.
Knight has come up during trial at least 50 times. Another former assistant, David James, testified he once spotted Knight at Mel's Diner in Los Angeles and was then forced to accompany Combs, who he said was armed, to confront him.
If there's anything suggesting that I was doing anything illegal, I'm going to say definitely not.
Knight, who spoke to us from a California prison where he's serving time for a fatal hit and run, expressed some sympathy for Combs.
I don't feel that they should take Puffy and lock him up and throw away the key. I think he can do so much good right now. Him telling the truth about the industry.
And despite their long-standing rivalry, Suge Knight told us he does not hate Sean Combs. Now, a new week of testimony begins here this morning with Combs' former assistant testifying under the pseudonym Mia, back on the witness stand and under cross-examination. Guys?
Okay, Aaron, let's bring in Dan Abrams for more on this. Suge Knight, important witness for prosecutors.
Look, Suge Knight is basically saying at this point, from behind bars, you have to understand there's more context here. He's not the only one who was doing things like that. He's sort of walking a very fine line, suggesting that he should testify, right? Diddy's not going to testify in this case, and I don't know that I would take legal advice from Suge Knight from behind bars right now. But, you know, it is interesting when you look at the context more culturally of the hip-hop world to listen to Suge Knight. I think it's less significant with regard to the actual trial.
Well, how successful have prosecutors been in proving racketeering and sex trafficking?
More successful than I thought they were going to be. I mean, when we talked about this early in the case, I was talking about how hard the RICO, the racketeering part, was going to be. But you're seeing now witness after witness come forward talking about his employees assisting in this, right? Now you have the enterprise. The enterprise is the people who work for him doing the things he's telling them to do. And then you have potential crime after crime after crime that's being alleged, which is everything from kidnapping and arson to extortion, et cetera. And you were asking me a moment ago, Michael, but, you know, wait a sec. Have they necessarily proved each and every one of these? And that's going to be the question, right? That's going to be the question that has to be addressed is there enough proof to say that there was an arson, for example? It wasn't proved in court. Has it in another case, meaning, so has it been proved here?
And who else does the prosecution then need to put on the stand to prove all of this?
Well, so they have another victim, another critical victim who's going to come forward, an ex-girlfriend of his who's going to testify. And I think, again, you're going to see the same kind of defense that we've seen in each one of these, which is, again and again, it's you came back, you didn't complain at the time, and why would you write all these positive things about him in the meantime? So you're going to see similar defenses throughout with regard to these witnesses.
The truth of the matter is they saying Suge Knight was a booty goon too, but it really shouldn't matter what these men do sexually, because we live in a time now to where whatever you want to be, however you want to be, you can go ahead and do that as long as you're not hurting nobody. If you ain't taking nothing from nobody, you ain't robbing, stealing, or raping nobody, then hell, live your life the way you want to live it. Their sexuality really don't matter. But the crazy part about all of this really is they tried to say that Chris Lighty underlined himself because his secret was getting ready to be exposed and everybody was going to know what he was doing behind closed doors. I never believed that, but during that time in hip hop, If it came out that you was living that way, it would have been hard. Rest in peace to Mr. C, because he took it like a champ. He got exposed. He kept on working at Hot 97. He was living his best life. Mr. C didn't slow down not one bit. Even though everybody knew what he was really doing, they got the same accusations about LL Cool J. I know y'all heard about Busta Butts, aka Busta Rhymes. It seemed like everybody in the entertainment industry is zesty. And to top it off, Ray J been in the scenes doing plenty of zesty things, but he living in his truth. That's why it's looking like at the end of the day, when Diddy gone, Suge Knight gone, LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes, all these people gone, Ray J gonna be left. And he gonna be the king of it all. He might just run the whole entire black entertainment industry. Especially now that he coming forward and speaking his truth about how he really feel about Diddy.
What is your view of how this case is going?
I think it's kind of becoming a circus, and with all the allegations, and now with everybody explaining like what's happening in the bedroom, I mean, every day it just sounds crazier and crazier and freakier and weirder, right? And I'm like trying to understand, with all this being said, like with Kid Cudi going on and saying everything that happened, but then ended up saying Cassie played both of us. It's like, where are we trying to go? Are we just trying to like tell all of these crazy stories and then that equals out to sex trafficking? I mean, it's starting to become outrageous. It's a RICO case. It's really only Diddy and maybe one other person. Like, I'm just starting to feel uncomfortable and I'm starting to feel weird about this whole thing.
Well, it was certainly interesting last week when I interviewed this guy who had the pseudonym The Punisher, who was hired, and it was Cassie Ventura. Right. So it was a sort of very interesting interview because Cassie Ventura did all the negotiating, did all the payments, and did all the texting to him. Diddy would sit in the corner of a hotel room naked, and he would watch, with her apparent full consent, this guy come in and have sex with her. And it happened maybe a dozen times over a 2.5-year period. Now, none of that says to me that that is a serious crime. If she is the one that is organizing it all. Now, she is arguing it was coercion and so on. You know all these people very well. You know Cassie Ventura. You know Diddy well. When you saw that interview, maybe you saw the one that I did, but when you saw that guy talk, what was your takeaway from that?
I was just thinking, like, what year are we in? Like, it feels like we're in this vortex of, like, this dominatrix story about all of these different characters that are coming out and the names and the nicknames. And, I mean, it's intense. I think that it's entertaining for sure, and it's definitely press worthy. But at the end of it all, it's like, this is what Diddy is being charged for, and this is what he possibly might serve a lot of jail time for. I don't understand it, and I really want to know where this is all gonna go and where does this lead? Because again, it's weird, it's freaky, like the whole oral thing with the 19 guys and the blisters. I mean, it feels like they're just trying to paint these pictures of Diddy. And I was around Diddy all the way pretty much up until the arrest. And all I got from that when I hung out with Diddy, and this is word to my mom and kids, he's always inspired me to be great. When I left, I felt like I could do more for my business. I felt like I had more power because I wanted to be more vocal in running my companies and call my wife if we were getting into it and send her flowers. I mean, these are all the things he was instilling to me and all of the young guys around that were inspired and you know, look at him as a mentor. So now these private things that happen when we were around and never even got a chance to see this kind of crazy stuff, it just sounds like this was a private, personal thing that was happening, and now it's starting to become just it's diabolical. I mean, if that's the right word, it's chilling and it's scary for a lot of people out there in this business like us who are trying to walk the right path and connect with the right people when there's things that you do when you make bad mistakes. But this is like an overflow of just complete negativity.
So it sounds to me, unless I'm wrong, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you think that there's been a massive overreach here. This is personal behavior between Diddy and Cassie Ventura that we've seen so far, that it doesn't cross the line from where you sit into serious crime under the RICO law, which of course was, intended for mafia members and so on. Do you think that's what we're witnessing here with this case? That this was consensual? It may be freaky, it may be sexually deviant, it may be all these things, but it was apparently consensual behavior and not a crime.
I agree, and there's things that we saw in these videos, and they were disturbing, and that's not okay, right? But looking at the crimes that he's being charged for, this is where it starts to go overboard, and it's like whoever was mad at the top was really mad, and I think we're here now, and I think it's a flex, because like, what are they trying to get out of this in this court case? Does everybody that's talking about these stories, do they want to see Puffy rot in jail? Is that what we're here for? Because I just think that that's unfair, and just knowing everybody, it just could have been done a different way. And now it's starting to worry me. And I honestly think that Diddy will get out. And I think that there's nothing here, right? I think they made their point, whatever they were trying to make. Your point is made. Now let Diddy out. Free Diddy.
Wow, you think he's going to walk?
I think so. And I personally think it's going to happen faster than a lot of people think, because I think we're all starting to see what this is. Even if you're on the other side of it, I mean, the justice system is the justice system. Where does this fit in right as opposed to right and wrong? It's off. And I don't like it.
Here's my problem.
And I want to be vocal about it.
Right, so I've met Diddy a couple of times at social functions many years ago, and he was perfectly polite and nice to me, and we had a perfectly civilized conversation. One was an Oscars party, one was an event in London. I have to say, when I watched the video that was leaked of him attacking Cassie Ventura in that hotel corridor, I did think then, well, you're not the person I thought I knew from everything I'd read and heard. You're a very violent person, capable of beating up a woman. That is despicable. And if you're capable of that, and that's just what we saw on a CCTV bit of footage by chance, then what else are you capable of? What do you say to people like me who looked at that and go, well, this guy is a vicious, nasty piece of work?
Listen, I was very hurt when I saw the video. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was very disappointed, and I still am. And my heart goes out to Cassie for me just watching that, right? It's not okay. And there's nothing about that was okay. And I can't say but after that, because that's just what that is. And I feel the same way you feel. But on the top of what we're doing now, and even with the tape being altered, I heard, and they're not going to be able to use it probably in court because it was altered before it was put out, that puts a spin on it. It doesn't put the spin on what he did. But the altered tape, that as opposed to sex trafficking and a RICO, and now it's in this mafia setting, it just doesn't, they don't go together. If he was charged for something else that maybe had fit what we saw, we all kind of would understand what's going on. But the charges and what's being done, it's not okay.
Man, I just don't know. Y'all gotta let me know how y'all feel about this Diddy trial. How y'all feel about LL Cool J and Busta Rhymes possibly coming up there to get a testimony? Ain't no such thing as a snitch no more, especially when people got bills to pay. If you dirty, you dirty. Maybe you need to take a bath. Maybe you need to get yourself clean. Maybe you need to be held responsible for your actions. If people call you out, they just call you out. Snitching ain't nothing but a legal form of construction criticism. And I believe Chris Lighty needs some justice. So do Kim Porter and all the other people that may have been harmed by Diddy. He innocent until proven guilty. If they can't prove nothing, they just wasting their time entertaining the public. But they are entertainers. So that's what we want from them. We want to be entertained. Rather if there's justice served or not. Most times when these entertainers go on trial, they get off. Even OJ got off. Young Thug got off. Most likely Diddy gonna get off. As long as they do their job and entertain the people gonna be happy. So Busta Rhymes, LL Cool J, I know these is rumors, alleged allegations. I don't think it's even possible for them to get up there and give their testimony. But I believe they want to. They heard some things that Diddy did wrong and they would love to tell it. I don't think they got the nerve to do it, but if they did, a lot of people would be willing to listen and take them more seriously than somebody named Mia, more seriously than Cassie or whoever else testified in this trial. Y'all gotta let me know how y'all feel about it in the comment section, man. I got so much love for y'all. Make sure y'all do me a favor. Hit that like button, hit that notification button too. And one more thing, subscribe to my channel if that's what you want.
Subscribe to my channel if that's what you want. But if that's not what you like, then you must be a punk. Hold on now, here we go. Who is this girl? She got that jump